I often hear that in order to become better, you should ignore how you feel and continue pushing forwards. And I wanted to share my thoughts on this. I think that this makes sense because it leads you to do difficult things that help you to become better over time, and it leads you to show up on days that you otherwise wouldn't. But I don't think this has to mean ignoring the way that we feel. Us feeling negatively could result from an underlying physical or mental problem that holds us back from doing what we set out to do, which is why I think addressing how we feel could help us to become better in the long term. With this said, I don't think we need to completely shift our focus and spend all of our time addressing the way we feel. Instead, I think it makes sense to still do what we initially set out to, just a bit less, so we also have time to address the way we feel. Essentially, we're still showing up and making some progress with the behaviors we've established to be important, but we're also giving ourselves the time to resolve the issue that's holding us back. For instance, today I felt a bit off in a way that I felt a few times before. I think it may be due to a small digestive issue where my body is intaking food, but isn't mobilizing the energy from that food as well as it normally would. This is a small issue, but I think it made it so I was less interested in what I was studying, and I was able to study less effectively. Still, I decided to study when I could, and even though I was maybe only 70% as effective as I normally would be, I was still able to make progress. But I'm also planning to try to resolve the issue by thinking through which of my behaviors could be influencing it. One final insight is to consider thinking of the way you feel, not just as some arbitrary thing, but rather as the likelihood that you'll behave in a certain way. From this perspective, it makes sense to try to feel better so that you're more likely to behave in the way that you intend to. Overall, I think how we're feeling can be a useful feedback mechanism that's often worth addressing, especially if we're able to do something to positively influence it.